As Heidi pointed out, it is not entirely clear if Justice Gorsuch actually violated any ethics or disclosure laws in the financial disclosures. It appears that he did not, right? That by the letter of the rule, he was disclosing what he had to disclose. And in that sense, it's less cut and dry than what Justice Clarence Thomas has received from Harlan Crow, right? Where he pretty clearly should have disclosed that and then just chose not to. But that's all the problem. I mean, fundamentally, this is 1/3 of the American federal government, one of the three branches. And American people absolutely have a right to know if 9 of the most powerful judges in the country, the 9 most powerful judges in the country, 9 of the most powerful people in the country, have financial ties in the past, ongoing, like a guy who's your mother's landlord, that could cause, at the very least, the appearance of a conflict of interest. Right now, the justices regulate themselves when it comes to ethics. Nice work if you can get it. Even though, judges being bribed is one of the central canonical acts of corruption that you look out for in a corrupt state. It happens all throughout history and all around the world all the time, right? You don't want judges to get bribed. People try to bribe them all the time, and in corrupt societies and corrupt governments, they do get bribed. So there's a reason to be vigilant. And it is perfectly legitimate as an oversight undertaking for one of the other branches of government to make sure that they're vigilant on this. That, of course, is why the Senate Judiciary Committee wants to hear from Chief Justice John Roberts. Last week, Committee Chair Dick Durbin sent Justice Roberts a letter requesting either his testimony or the testimony of a fellow justice, noting, quote, there is ample precedent for sitting justices of the Supreme Court to testify before Congress, including regarding ethics. He's right. Back in 2011, then Justices Stephen Breyer and Antonin Scalia, you see them there, testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee on the role of the court in American life, including questions of ethics.
I think there's several different things. I think one is what money you can take or can't take for the most part, what the reporting requirements and some of the general ethics requirements that are you can't sit in cases. Those are statutory, and I think they bind us, period. I've always thought so.
The real key to the distinctiveness of America is the structure of our government. One part of it, of course, is the independence of the judiciary. But there's a lot more.
But Chief Justice John Roberts just doesn't feel like he needs to testify. So yesterday, he responded to the Senate request with, if you'll forgive me for opining, an offensively dismissive letter where he attempts a half-hearted attempt to gussy up his defiant refusal to cooperate by citing past precedent. Except, guess this, all of the precedent he cites include examples of past chief justices cooperating with congressional investigations, testifying before Congress. He references Chief Justices William Howard Taft, Charles Evans Hughes, who, guess what, testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee, and William Rehnquist, who testified multiple times in the House. He then hand-waves away their testimony as being about, quote, mundane topics. He also adds a bizarre non sequitur about presidents testifying before Congress, noting, quote, no president has ever testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee, and only 3 presidents, 1862, 1919, 1974, have testified before any congressional committee. Okay. But it's worth pointing out that despite wrapping himself in the lofty language of the judiciary and precedent, I am a judge, and let me see what precedent says. The only precedent he cites are chief justices actually doing it, and then he doesn't actually say anything else. Never makes an affirmative argument why he can't or won't testify. What's really left unsaid in the letter is basically a kind of constitutional hardball. The Chief Justice effectively argues, I'm not going to testify because you can't make me. What are you going to do? That's the question. What are Senate Democrats going to do about it?